we've been working for a little while. We're going to ask him again. See how much quicker he is to obey than he was before.
5 minutes later.
You notice he's a whole lot quicker to obey after just a few more laps around here. And that's what you're looking for. When he starts getting all the energy drained out of it, he starts obeying quite a bit quicker. You notice how even the transitions in directions, well, it's just a lot cleaner, a lot neater, and a lot more willing looking out of it. It's not that this is the first time he's learned that. It's just that now the energy level is coming down to a point where he's ready to learn to live. When he's 10, 15 years old, you probably won't have to do this anymore. But it's still good even for a 10-year-old. It doesn't matter how many miles the horse has had on him, how many hours of training he has around him. You know, that right there is something that I don't tolerate and don't like, is them putting that nose in the ground when they're supposed to be going around. And that's another thing too, you need to have a lot of focus on your horse when you're doing this. Especially when you're first starting out with a new horse or anything like that, you need to try to keep the distractions for you down to a bare minimum. You know, a lot of people, you know, crowds or anything like that is going to get you distracted. You're not going to focus on your horse as well as you might need to. See, there was just a little bit of a show of defiance and still a little show that he's still pretty energetic.
He said, I don't want to. Well, that was pretty good.
Whoa. Easy. A bit. Easy. See, that whoa was just nearly immediate. That gets a whole lot more crisp. All of his maneuvers get a lot more crisp and clean when you get the energy off of him. That's not to say tired. He still is by no means tired yet. He's just starting to get the energy drawn off of him.
Touch him on the shoulder.
Huh?
Touch him on the shoulder. See if he'll park out. How easy he'll do it. You shouldn't have to actually tap the back of his heels if he's ready. That was pretty good.
The parking out along with the transitions and turning and the woes and everything get just a lot more willing, a lot more crisp and clean to do. Good job.
Looking for their undivided attention.
I just don't think you can do too much round pinning or too much socialization, too much learning new things, but at the same time, you can't overdo each individual session. You know, if you're working long, you need to break it up and have different things to do in there, you know, like stopping them and getting them to park out, picking up their feet, asking them to give, and then working them more, you know, just things to break it up. You can cause a horse to be resentful or to act out just from sheer frustration or just repeating the same thing that they know how to do already, just drilling it into the ground, kind of, you know. So you got to read your horse and tell when frustration levels are coming into play as well. That being said, working this horse doing these little simple exercises right here for a couple of hours is not too much. You know, he can very well tolerate it, and they need to. You know, your trail rides are going to be hours and hours and hours long. You know, so they need to get used to having to work and listen for extended periods of time. The first initial times that you work with a new horse, or you get a new person and a new horse together, short and sweet is not a bad idea. You know, just first initials, get your confidence levels in both the horse and the handler up to a point where they need to be. If they do everything right and everything you ask them to do while you're standing here, pet them and tell them that they've done a good job. Give them just a moment or two. That way they don't think that getting them back to working around the round pen is punishment for doing what you just asked them to do. Now, if they make a bad move, like say when I want to pick up his heel, if he wants to make a step or something like that, I would immediately just go into sending him back around the round pen. That way he kind of relates that I had to go because I made a bad move. If they've done everything good, give them just a moment to let that sink in, because one of their biggest rewards is just being able to stand still. Especially the more energy you get out of them, the bigger reward it is just to stand still. That's one of the things with parking out, you can make that be part of the reward, is if they park out and they do good, like he just did, they get to stand still for a minute.